reparations all year, but you don't have the political courage to bring me to it when you know you have to vote.
Your auntie right here. Your auntie right here. Family, your auntie's on.
So we're going to go ahead now and allow Assemblyman Isaac Bryan to come speak.
Fuck you!
No, you guys are done. Y'all have to put him out.
Fuck you!
Put him
No,
out.
I'm going outside. Fuck that train. Fuck that train, bro. Bitch ass. Come outside.
It's the political brown kid here. And of course, I'm pretty sure everyone has heard, if you're following politics, you've been hearing about the uproar that's occurring in Chicago and in California. But specifically, let's talk about California right now. Because originally California legislature put forth a bill to provide reparations to the citizens of, to the black residents of California. And now the Congressional Black Caucus members have blocked it from being put onto the floor. And black residents in California are in uproar. And the latest video that I saw on, I do believe it was X, there was a clip where someone had created a sign basically saying that black people were racist against Hispanics. And the black people, there was a meeting and there was a black woman that went off. I'm going to try to upload the video or at least put up some frames so that you can see that. This is what I want people to understand. When you're talking about this reparations bill all of a sudden being kind of delayed, deferred, whatever you want to call it, or not being put forward, they're not trying to progress the bill further for voting. This is what people need to understand. This is not technically a Gavin Newsom call. And I'm not defending Gavin Newsom. I think that Gavin Newsom plays a big role in this, but I'm going to tell y'all where this is starting from if you all care about this. And this is a theory of mine, but I'm pretty sure that I am correct. You have to think about this. The bill was proposed back in January, I think January of 2024. The bill for reparations was proposed way back in January of 2024. Who proposed that bill? The black legislative bodies or the black senators or whomever of California, the black public servants of California. So if they're the ones that put it forward back in January, and now all of a sudden they're the ones blocking it, but they're willing to vote on immigration funding for immigrants. Think about this. Why would they be so gung-ho and happy to move forward with it in January, but now all of a sudden they're having a change of heart? Let me tell you why. Who was the presidential nominee back in January of 2024? The Democratic presidential nominee in 2024. It was Joe Biden. Now, who's the presidential nominee now as of, I think, July, late June, early July of 2024? It is Kamala Harris. What is Kamala Harris's position on reparations? She said she's not for reparations for black people. She's taken the same position that Barack Obama took when he ran. Mind you, both of these two individuals are not what everyone wants to call foundational black Americans. These are two individuals that are black Americans. Barack Obama is actually, he's the true definition of an African-American. He has an African father and an American or European mother. Kamala Harris has an Indian mother and she has a black father. Now, I'm not one of these people that says that her parents aren't black, because here's what people fail to understand. Being Indian is not a race. There's no such thing as a race of Indians. When you look at Indians, Indians are going to typically fall, even though they're on the Asiatic continent, Indians are dark. They are melanated. They are dark. They can fall into the Nubian category just as similarly as What people fail to realize is that the Aborigines are black. Black people come in various shapes and various hues. So I don't in various we have our phenotype. The white people have tricked y'all into believing that if you have straight hair and a thin nose that you are not black, or you are a diluted black, and that is not the case. Stop letting these white people trick y'all. You can go to Kenya and see what black people look like. You can go to Somalia, you can go to Eritrea, you can go to Ethiopia, you can go to Egypt and see what black people look like. So stop letting these white people trick y'all and divide y'all. And as soon as you see somebody that doesn't fit the traditional look of what you think of African and or Nubian should look like, you automatically discount them. She does have black lineage, but she's taken the same playbook that Barack Obama has taken. When you looked at the Democratic National Convention, here's the deal. What people are missing. Van Jones got up on the stage. Somebody put the clip up. I forgot who had the clip. I think it's Anton Daniels, I think, did the clips. And big shout out to Anton Daniels. I think he did a clip one time before, and it actually showed Van Jones talking. And Van Jones was basically saying, I'm glad that the Democratic Party has gotten away from all of this woke nonsense, all of this reparations nonsense, and has moved more towards being more patriotic. And that's exactly what the Democrats are doing, because the Democrats are kind of stealing some of Donald Trump's ideas. And I'm not trying to, everyone wants to think that I'm a Donald Trump supporter. I'm neither. Like I told you, I don't support either one of these candidates. But you have to understand, the Democrats are looking to say, well, how did Donald Trump win? Because the last time Donald Trump won against Hillary, they're looking to say, well, how and why? And they're saying, well, Donald Trump spoke to the poor white people that were not being represented in America. When you looked at Donald Trump's thing is all about being a Bible lover, being a strong patriot. Those are his things, making America great, America first. He's always waving a flag. And then on the polar opposite end of that, you always just see the Democrats talking about marching, protesting, black rights, gay rights, women rights, F America, F Israel. And they're looked at the rebels, and they're looked at as not being true patriots. So when you looked at the Democratic National Convention, and trust me, I didn't see it, but I did get the Cliff Notes. I wasn't going to watch that mess. But when you hear the Cliff Notes and what they were talking about, it's basically they've changed their position. They're trying to take a more position, or at least Kamala is basically injecting. And I'm pretty sure she had her hand to say, this is what my agenda and how I want us to move forward with the campaign. They want to present like they're Americans, that they're patriotic, that they're pro-America. And then you don't even hear also that too, that they're going hard against Israel and being very pro-Palestinian. They're not doing that. They've calmed down the rhetoric. You're not going to hear all of this Black Lives Matter, all of this marching and woke stuff coming from Kamala. She's literally trying to say, I'm trying to win everyone's vote, and she's trying to snatch votes. And I guarantee you, this is my theory. Kamala went to those black congressional or senator leaders. I don't know who votes over there in California, but she went to the black state representatives and said, listen, I'm not for reparations. We can't be doing this. So y'all got to cut this out. And this is why this matters. You may say, well, this is the state of California. They can do what they want to do. What does her running have to do with the state of California? It absolutely does, because if California sets a precedent that they're going to move forward with reparations, if California successfully moves forward with reparations, then the rest of the country is going to be like, well, California did it. We demand reparations too. So you're going to start looking at all of the states in America, particularly the ones heavily populated with blacks, Illinois, because you have Chicago. You're going to look at all up and down the East Coast until you get to the North Carolina area. But you can go Maryland on up to New York. And you're just going to start looking at all of these places that are heavily populated black population. And they're going to be demanding. And then you can look at even the pockets of places like in Minnesota, where you have a lot of blacks, in Wisconsin, in Milwaukee. and a lot of blacks in Minnesota and so forth in the densely populated cities, those areas are going to be creating an uproar for her during this election cycle. And she doesn't want that. So that's why they tabled the talk for reparations. That's just my theory, but I can guarantee you that I'm correct. Because if they do something at the state level, it's going to force her hand to have to take a true stance again. It's going to put the it's going to put the reparations conversation back on the table where she's going to have to address it. And if she goes back and addresses it again, basically says, I'm not doing anything for black people, that's going to tick the black people off. If she even hints that she would consider reparations, that's going to turn off the white people. So basically, just like how her mixed race is confusing her, where she refuses to basically give what her identity is because she refuses to say, yes, I'm black. She just tiptoes and tap dances around it the same way she did with Dana Bash. She didn't address it again. She just moved forward. She's going to do the same thing with reparations. And that's what's going on. And I think that it's a very sad day when you have Congressional Black Caucus members playing around with black people. These are black people that don't care about other black people because they're either playing politics or they're worried about their jobs and they're trying to move forward, or they're worried about what Gavin Newsom and or Kamala Harris is going to promise them. They're playing politics with these people. And it's unfortunate that it's always black people that never get anything in this country. And what's even more unfortunate than that is that you have other black people in this country, like you have a lot of black people in my thread that as soon as I say something negative about Kamala, they get mad. You got black people, you got even black people who don't want to give black people reparations because they listen to the rhetoric of these Democrats. It's not black people's fault. This is what I'm trying to understand where white people are so ignorant on. It is not black descendants, and when I say black descendants, I'm talking about us black people today. It is not our fault that America did not compensate our forefathers. When I say forefathers, I'm not talking about them white racists. I'm talking about our ancestors who survived the slave trade and or who were already here and were already and was also enslaved as well. It's not our fault that our ancestors were not compensated. It is America's fault for failing to compensate them as soon as slavery was over, failing to give them their up to 40 acres and a mule, because that's what they were promised, up to 40 acres and a mule. It's not our, but however, they could rapidly compensate slave owners for the loss of their quote unquote property and the setback or the expenses that they incurred because of the Civil War and because of the Emancipation Proclamation. But so America can rapidly or expeditiously compensate white slave owners, which are white females, too. And that's why I'm kind of confused that these black women have aligned themselves with these white women. These white women are not victims. I'm trying to figure out, when did women become victims? Black women are victims. These white women have never been victims. So don't start that. Black women and black men have been victims. When do they get compensated? These white women were compensated. Their ancestors were compensated for slavery. Everyone else got compensation but us. So that's the whole point. It's not our fault that we didn't get compensated. We're just asking for our just due, and we're asking it now. But the only thing that these people want to do, Kamala Harris included, is say, we'll give you compensation by giving you education. And once again, I'm going to put this argument on the table. What is education going to do for you? I'm just being honest with you all. And trust me, this is coming from a highly educated person. I have 2 graduate degrees. Both of my graduate degrees are in information technology. That's the field that I work in. I have 2 grad degrees in information technology. But I can tell you like this: if you don't own your own business, you can be fired tomorrow. Just because you have a degree doesn't mean that someone has to hire you. And you all know the economic climate that we live in right now. Stock market's plunging, There are jobs, there are job announcements out there, but people aren't filling these job announcements. The compensation is low, and also the ceiling is high. I mean, the ceilings are low for you to progress through your career. So you getting compensated through education doesn't guarantee you that you're going to make any money. It's just going to probably make you a bartender with a graduate degree or with a bachelor's degree. Because right now, with everyone getting degrees, a bachelor's degree is the standard. It is the norm. In order to be different, you really have to have a graduate degree. And then to really be different, you have to have a PhD. And then all that's going to make you is a person that has a lot of debt. No one ever asks any celebrity, no one ever walks up to 50 Cent and says, "What school did you go to?" No one walks up to that ignorant person, Sean Carter or Beyonce. No one walks up to them and say, "Oh man, you're so successful. What school did you go to?" The only thing America respects is money. People want to say that America is a democracy. America is not a democracy. America is a capitalist state first. That's what comes first, capitalism. And until y'all get that in y'all's head and understand that you have to play the capitalism game, don't worry about getting a degree. Your worry should be securing financial stability. And I'm not talking about selling any narcotics. I'm not talking about doing anything illegal. I'm talking about just finding a way to be productive. And if it comes to going to school, if you need to do that, then do so. But just come to understand that them giving you an education should not be compensation for your ancestors. You should want to get pure compensation through money, financial compensation. One of the things I always tell people, and I think a lot of guys do this, I don't have time, like if I'm giving people gifts and stuff, I don't have time to go to the store and buy you a sweater and buy you some jeans or buy you some shoes or buy you a hat or buy you a scarf. I don't have time to do that because number one, half the times when you give people something, they're going to probably take it back to the store and exchange it for either something else or they're going to want to get the cash. My thing is the gift that everyone loves to receive is money. Now, whether that's going to be cash or whether that's going to be a gift card, either way, I guarantee you a person would rather take that over the functional equivalent. And when I say functionally equivalent, I mean if you're going to buy somebody a Louis Vuitton bag that costs $1,000, if you say you can have this Louis Vuitton bag for $1,000 or if you can have $1,000 cash, which one do you want? More than less likely, the person who's going to choose the cash. Well, some people may choose the Louis bag, but if you're up in that range, you get what I'm trying to say. Cash will always win out. When you give somebody a card, the first thing people do, they open the card, they're looking to see if money's inside. And so what I'm trying to say to you all is that if Kamala or whomever tries to offer you education as compensation for reparations, say no. Because number one, it's going to take you 4 years to even get the education. Or if you go to trade school, it may take you 6 months. But now you wasted 6 months worth of time. And you can't get time back. Once time is gone, it's gone. You want the money because now you wasted time. And then that time that you wasted doesn't guarantee that you're going to go out and get a job. And that you can make that, and that you can, elevate yourself. But the cash, if someone gives you, let's just say if they just gave you $50,000 tax free, you can easily take that $50,000. If you want to be real safe, you can say, okay, I'm going to take this $50,000 and I'm going to buy 50,000 shares of a mutual fund or an index fund or an exchange traded fund, an ETF. You could buy one of those and just collect dividends, and hopefully that you get capital gains off of that as well. But I would rather have the $50,000 because I can quickly invest $50,000. Or you could take the $50,000 and buy your own truck, food truck, cigar shop. You can start a small business with that. You can take $50,000 and use that as a 20% down payment on a rental property. Cash always wins out. And of course, we're going to have some ignorant black people and ignorant white people in the thread. They're going to jump in my thread and say, well, you pay black people this money. All they're going to do is go out and buy sneakers and shoes. So what? I guarantee you, if you give white people $50,000, you're going to find a bunch of ignorant white people that are going to do the same thing. But anytime you start talking about black people, we always start talking about ignorant things that go on. But for every ignorant black person or white person that goes out and does something stupid, there's always a smart black person or white person that goes out and does something productive. You have ignorant people in every society, so don't worry about what the ignorant people are going to do. If they want to blow their fortune, let them blow it. But I can guarantee you there's going to be a lot of black people, if you get that reparations money, you're going to do the right thing with it. So that's just my thought on this whole reparations thing. I'm just going to drop this video. I see the channel just kind of slowing down. Guess everyone's tired of hearing me talk about whatever it is I'm talking about, but I just wanted to drop this information on you anyway because I think it's information you need to hear. Once again, this is the Political Brown Kid. I'm out of here.